Welcome back and thank you for staying with us on KUTV Primetime News. You can share thoughts with us on our social media platform where we are streaming live this broadcast on Facebook KUTV Kenya and on Twitter KUTV_Kenya. Now, the current unrest in schools where students burning down their own schools is a multi-phase problem that must be carefully looked into. Even after the half-term break where high school students were given a break, schools absence has not been phased away as seen in the recent incident at Naivasha Boys Secondary School and Maranda High School. It is time, therefore, that a long-lasting solutions need to be found to curb the menace. Tonight, we are joined by Grace Destiny, a life coach, as we try to dig deep into the problem. So, Grace,
yes,
thank you so much for dedicating your time for this discussion.
Most welcome.
Right, now, into the discussion of the night. Yep. School absence is back with vengeance like never before. What exactly has changed in our system? Why are we having so many incidents unlike the olden days?
There's some things that have happened, like we would talk of the current situation, which is ongoing.
Yes.
And that is the issue of COVID-19. Something happened that we had a very long break. Children are at home for almost 1 year. They forgot about school.
Sure.
They were waking up to no rules, no uniform, no bells, no timings, and they're waking up to doing whatever they want. Who prepared them for the new thing? And even as they went back to school or to class, they did not run with the program that they were used to. Everything changed. Sure. No breaks, short holidays, studying up to almost midnight to try and catch up with the curriculum and the syllabus. Who prepared them for this? I would like to ask several people a question. Parents, how did COVID-19 affect you? Did you expect your bosses and those people who you work with to understand you in case of any slight change? Especially because finances were affected. Some people lost their loved ones. So many people have lost their loved ones, friends and relatives. Right. And as a parent, I expect, one, the person living next with me, that is my husband or my wife, to understand me for whatever reason, whatever I'm going through. We expect our children to understand us and not even to make more demands. If you've been going to school with 1,000 shillings for a week for pocket money, you expect me to give you, I expect you to understand that I'm giving you 500 because I'm paying school fees after every 1 month. Who is understanding the child? Who is even giving a dialogue to these children? As we go to blame them and to see like they are even, that like we have a bad generation, let's ask ourselves, how much do we care about what they feel? Right. Children are human beings. Students are human beings. And teenagers have more emotional baggage than you and I.
Right. Now, well articulated, Grace. Now, why is it that these incidents of arson in schools, you're only seeing them in public and private schools? It's not in the international schools. Is it because that not much has changed in the international schools, or what's happened?
That is one of the reasons, because actually most international schools were ongoing even when the others were on break.
Right.
They were doing virtual learning, and so the program was going on. Nothing much really changed with the international schools. Public schools are much affected more than the private schools, and you can always guess the reason.
Right.
Public schools have so many children as compared to private schools. The teachers are also human beings. These teachers were on break. Some of them suffered psychologically, emotionally. Remember, the same teachers are husbands and wives. The same people who are locked in the same house for longer times than they are used to, without a preparation, a mental preparation that you are going to sit in the house from 7 due to curfew. So fights in the family have been like that. That was there was a lot of changes. These teachers are supposed to handle the big portion. Let me talk about 100 kids per teacher, or at least 60 children under one teacher for all that time. No break, no holiday. The teacher is bound to react by, number one, either being over harsh, over reactive to the children, or withdrawing, because they also have issues to deal with. So these kids may even be feeling neglected. If they have not been punished more, or they have not been rebuked more by the teachers, because I understand caning was stopped, which is okay. Thanks. I know you want to say it's not okay. Anyway, those parents, those teachers could also be putting pressure on these children unconsciously. we need intervention.
Right.
And the kind of intervention is this. I know in schools we have guidance and counseling, which are handled by teachers.
Yes.
So I'm the biology teacher. You mess up with me in class, I punish you, or we have a beef, then you find me in guidance and counseling office. For heaven's sake, how am I going to counsel you for what I've caused?
Sure.
We need an intervention. And this is where the counselors come in. I'm trying to talk on behalf of us, counselors and therapists. We need to be invited to bring reconciliation, both at home and in school, because we are not going to stop this kind of reaction by caning the children or sending them home. We are simply interfering and interrupting with their destinies, because these children, remember, we are rushing the program to help them finish school very fast. How are they going to finish? What kind of stuff are we going to release to the community after they are done with classes? We must come to a consensus. We must bring our heads together, the teachers, the parents, and not even the children, because they cannot understand. Remember, these are kids. We are trying to deal with them like grown-ups. I've seen in some of our pages the members of the public trying to fight these children like normal grown-up people. These are kids. They need help. We cannot just judge them by whatever they are doing. Another thing I would like to say is concerning us, the media people. We are publicizing everything that happens. So this school will hear the other school banned. So they are banning, we also ban, with no reason. Some of them are doing it for fun. So can we also reduce the kind of publicity we are giving it?
But anyway, the media is supposed to relay information
I knew
to
you
the
would
public.
react there.
Actually,
you were too quiet. That's why I was saying that, so that you can talk.
Why would you want the media to refrain from relaying information to the public?
Don't you think it's helping? You know, what I hear gives me confidence to do exactly that. Why do we find that if there's a couple that has, like a man or a woman has killed the partner, after 1 week, we hear several cases, like 10 of them. Is it not because, it's happening, then I get the faith. Faith comes by hearing. That's what the good Bible tells me. So what I hear gives me the motivation to do it. We must accept that. We love the media. Why would I be here if I don't love the media? But then I love cameras. And that is why I'm here at this time of the night. So we must also minimize. And also, even as we publicize, let us also, after whatever incidents has happened, can we also say the aftermath? And let these children also understand that this actually destroys your future, because your papers are simply, you cannot just be a normal student after you have burnt a school. That means that your fingerprints have been taken. There are places you will never step with your feet, and that is because of your stupidity. So we must tell them the truth, but we can't just handle them carelessly. We must want to find out what is happening with them. These are children who are coming from background where some of these parents were laid off. They are no longer working. So even paying school fees is a hassle. When they go home for this short break, even the food is a problem. How do we expect them to react when they go back to school? They have a lot of heat that they cannot just release. Can the schools have forums where these children are advised, given a forum to talk, so that by the time they are done talking, when they go to class, they can be able to concentrate? Let us be friendly. That's what I would say. Now,
well put. So probably from your interactions with the students, with the parents, with the teachers, what are they saying is the root cause of this problem that we are having in schools? Could it be the effect of COVID-19 that is now spilling over from homes to the schools? What exactly are they saying is the root problem?
No one is actually taking the blame. There's a good blame game that is going on. The teachers are saying this. We gave you parents, your children, stayed with them for 10 months or whatever time, and you brought us back this kind of children. And the parents are saying COVID-19 messed us all, starting from our children to ourselves. We are no longer working. Businesses are not as they used to be. Life is not as usual. Teachers should understand and try and tame the children. So nobody is actually taking the blame. And I understand nobody is actually to blame. We should all take our portion and decide we are not blaming anybody, but we are coming in with a solution of helping our children. There are parents who, when the children go home for the holiday, you realize that they are complaining. Like the last time there was a break that was put in as an emergency.
The short break. The short midterm break,
Yes, it was 10 days. Well, less than 10 days, actually a week. Or some of our children, like my daughter is in Alliance, they came for 5 days, I think so. And their parents were complaining, asking, why are the children brought home? So can you imagine if a child landed on the page, because most of them are WhatsApp groups. They land on the WhatsApp group, and you realize that your mother or your father is complaining that you're coming home. How will that child feel? Rejection. We are like we are playing with our children like a ball. You throw them to the teachers, and the teachers throw them back to us. Someone must sober up. And I would like to say this, parents, my fellow parents, we are the owners of these children. If your child fails after the time that your child is supposed to be in school, they'll come back to you. Right. So before we involve the teachers, and before we even say that teachers have to blame or they have a lot of work to do on our children, these are our children. Sure. If we must love, we must be the first ones to love them. If they should be understood, we must be the first ones to understand them. Can we also talk with our children? Because I think also parents man up too much. You as a parent, you don't want to talk to your child and tell them, you know what, I am no longer working, I'm no longer getting the kind of money I used to get. Let us cut the cost. Let us understand one another. Our children are our blood. They will always understand us. But if we hide and we just rebuke them, a child comes and tells you, I need 5,000 for this and this. Where do you think I'm getting the money? Have you communicated? No. You have only reacted. So that child takes hate, takes pain. Sometimes maybe they even see you. Maybe it's a father. A father maybe takes one for the road. And so he's coming home drunk. The child is asking for 500 shillings, and you are rebuking the child. The child is wondering, Daddy, you are drunk. You were not given pombe for free. So why can't you afford the 500? Let us sit with our children and explain our status. Right. Because at the end of the day, when all is said and done, we will be the first beneficiaries of whatever outcome they become.
Right.
Yeah.
Well put. Now, examining some of the reasons why students decided to ban their schools, we have heard in places where students were complaining that they were not allowed to watch the English Premier League. Some were saying they're dissatisfied with the kind of diet they're having in schools. Some are saying that they don't, they're not in good relationship with their teachers and stuff. So could it be also that there is a problem in the way channels for conflict resolutions in schools, so they are leading to the kind of assaults you're seeing in schools?
I would like to say something here. There's always an underlying problem and a manifesting problem. Remember, we are talking about kids here. Sometimes a child will cry and you will think the child is sick, but the child is suffering out of something that they can't express. These are only things that the children can say, but I can assure you whatever is causing all this is not about food and watching of the television, because even before then they never used to watch. It's not like the TVs have been switched off because of COVID or because of whatever reason. Things, even if something has changed slightly in the school program, maybe like entertainment because of the more classwork that is required, I think they can understand that. But the pressure, there's something we call pressure from within. And it comes out from anytime, even if it's water, it will always come out from the weak point. And the weak point is what they can relate with. They can relate with entertainment and food. So that is not the main cause. And literally taking that information as if it's the main thing is there's a bit of ignorance in whoever would judge it that way. We must ask ourselves, what are these children lacking initially? From the first place, before they feel like this food is not good, what is boiling in the inside? Just like we know, if a man comes to the house, kicks everything. I like relating with families because families are something I love in marriages. A man comes from the gate, kicking everything, beating the dog, kicking the chicken. Definitely, it's not the dog and the chicken. There must be something that is underlying that the person cannot express. And that is what I'm talking about. Food is not the issue. And even if it is, it can be addressed. Because these children are our children, as we have said. Also, don't forget, many parents have not been able to pay school fees. So the provision even in school is also limited. The teachers are also working with very little amount of money to make sure that the schools are running. Parents have not been able to raise school fees, not all of them. And we can't blame them because the same source of income is the one that is required to be spent in the home, and the other children that have been left without maybe that are in primary schools that they have to come back home in the evening. So we understand that there's limit in everything. And even if the really problem is food, it can be understood. And as I've said, the children can always understand. When you talk to a child in a mature way and in a way that you show them you understand them, they'll also listen to you. But anytime you talk as if you're fighting, they will definitely react because they feel it's my right and you're not even explaining anything. So they will hit you the more you can. Actually, there's a question you were asking. Why must they ban the schools? They can't beat the teachers. They can only touch that which they can. As I said, a father will come kicking the dogs and everything because he knows he just can't come and batter the wife just like that. So you go to the weak thing that cannot respond. There's actually, they feel that if we ban the school, we have nowhere to study. So we'll go back home. That is how narrow-minded they are. That's why I talk to parents and teachers and I tell them children must be understood in their level.
Right.
They even don't remember that the same parents who are suffering to raise school fees are the ones who will build up the school again. They can't even remember that they are putting their parents more pressure and more pain because children are selfish.
Right.
Expecting a child to feel the way you feel as a parent is a wrong thing because a child doesn't understand. They don't even know whether you are suffering or not. They know that they don't have what they want.
Sure.
And thinking that they should understand is also wrong because they are children. Can we understand one thing? These are children. They're not grown-ups.
Right.
And us also, when we were that age, how much did we understand? Even if we were doing whatever, we were not doing whatever they are doing. We were not as understanding as we would want to really look. And by the way, as parents, you should also ask yourself, how were you in high school?
Sure.
Because in another language, they say, ugali utoka kwa unga. So could be, you should also analyze your former behavior.
Sure.
Before we throw stones to our children, let us try and understand them. Let us also ask ourselves, what are they lacking? I'm not saying that there are no indiscipline cases. They are there. But we must also ask what is fueling the indiscipline.
Right.
Because if they never did it last year but one, why this year? And as the authorities came together and concluded that the break is required, I believe it was the right thing.
Sure.
Because this congestion is affecting everybody. As parents, we are feeling the heat. As the teachers, they're also feeling the heat because they are working extra. Who is understanding these children? Why do we assume that the children must adjust by default? They can't.
Right.
They are actually the ones who are suffering. They have all their assignments. As a teacher, I'll come and give my assignment. You come and give your assignment. Both of us don't even care that we have both given one child assignment and we are two.
Right.
Tomorrow we want to punish them or we push them to finish. Who cares about the mental capacity of this child?
Right.
We must also be careful because at the end of the day, we don't want to release children who have good qualifications academically with mental problems.
Sure.
We must balance.
Right.
And if it's the workload that can be cut short, then we can go for that because the well-being of a child is better than the academic qualification.
Sure.
Some of us are not even doing what
Suppose.
the papers are not really
Right. I really get what you're saying. Now, in trying to curb the menace, we have seen initially when the education CS, Professor George Magoha, was suggesting that boarding schools be abolished. And the other day, they were saying together with the Interior CS, Fred Matiang'i, that the corporal punishment should be reintroduced. So what's your take on this? And probably what are some of the suggestions you will bring on board that will create reforms in schools and probably better the lives of students?
Most of the times, authorities go for the shortcuts. And many times, we like to silence the voice of the weak. It's easier. It's easier when you can't have an answer for your child. You tell them, shut up and go to bed.
Sure.
The child will feel like the authority has spoken, but you deep inside, you know very well you have failed to answer the question. And so because you can't face it and accept that you have failed, you rebuke that child and inflict fear so that they don't express themselves. Corporal punishment, the Bible says, spare the rod and spoil the child.
Sure.
But really, how much is the rod supposed to be used? And where does the rod come and where does the dialogue come in? We must know the difference and where each and everything comes in rightfully. There's a place of dialogue that we cannot substitute with the caning of a child.
Right.
And these are not children. To be honest, we've not had, even if there are primary schools that are burning, we are talking about high schools here. These are grown men and women. I call them women and men because that is who exactly they are.
Yeah.
Those are not children. What can't they hear that they must be caned to get? What kind of generation are we trying to raise? Generation that is operating under fear and the law is, apart from, like, they can't just be allowed to think and given room to operate with their minds and their brains. Why can't we sit down and talk to them? Bring a dialogue and let these kids understand that this is their lives.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's their lives. Banning your school, staying at home, come back and do the exam with those who have been running in school means that you are affected directly. Having your fingerprints taken and you are now in criminal records, that means that the whole of your life, you'll never be okay.
Sure.
If we make them understand that, who tells them that? You know, the problem with us parents and teachers, we rebuke children instead of talking to them. We actually talk to them when they have done wrong. We don't have time to do it before there's a problem. So they always feel like our talking is a punishment because it's always done when there's something wrong. The first thing that must happen is we must understand that everybody's stressed out. And as a parent, the way you feel, you must understand your child is also suffering through the same. And you must also understand that the intensity of the pressure is more on your child because they don't have the capacity to handle that pressure. Those are children. So you must be friendly and calm as you deal with those children. It doesn't mean that you can't correct your child. No. If there's a punishable mistake, it should be done. You don't spare the rod because at the end of the day, you're the one who is going to suffer. But you must also understand. Another thing, do you know it is very easy to punish someone out of your own anger, trying to release your own stress?
Sure.
And that doesn't mean discipline. There's a difference between punishment and disciplining. So as you carry out the corporal punishment, how are you going to do it? I saw on social media someone was writing that even the teachers should be given the allowance for beating children, because they also feel like if I hit someone and this child dies or something happens to this child, we will be in with the case. They're also fearing the same thing.
Sure.
Parents, I don't know whether this is something that can really be agreeable between parents and the teachers, but I think we need to enroll. I understand money is a problem in this country at this juncture, but I believe we should enroll more of counseling and therapy in schools.
Sure.
Kenyans have a problem.
Right.
Today as therapists, you try to tell someone, unanifaa kunilipa, anashindwa, you're supposed to be a pastor, do the work of the Lord. And they look at you and they wonder, why are you asking for money? It is the high time we embraced therapy in this country, because that is the only thing that will help our children. The people that come to me, the kids that come to me, I've come to realize that children are very good. Even those who are caught with drugs, abuse, and any other criminal records, when you listen to them, there's an entry point to that problem. And you can always get out that route. But if there's dialogue, counseling, therapy is what I would recommend.
All right, thank you so much for that. So probably as we wind up in about 1 minute, what could be your advice to the students, the general public?
My advice to the students is that you must take care of yourselves. This is your life. Your parents have had their lives, and your teachers, the reason why they're in school teaching is because they have already secured their future. It is your future that you're joking with, and you better learn how to practice patience. It is a virtue that everybody should have. So for my students and my friends, because I love the students so much and the teenagers, please remember, it is only a matter of 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, and a maximum of 4 years. And you are done with the uniform and the rules thing. Then you have the rest of your life to live the way we are living. We miss the school uniform because that is when we used to have pocket money for free. So please, take care of yourself and think about your life before you think about the teachers and the parents. They are already having their lives. And parents, be slow with your children. Be friendly and make them your friends. They can always listen to you. Teachers, we understand the pressure, but you are also second parents. As you handle a child, remember your children are also there. Be the second parent, not just a teacher. And the whole country, including the leaders, can we incorporate counselors? Let us use therapy more than punishment. Let us not rush to punishment because that is an escape route. Let us face the problem head on and we are going to have a solution. My name is Grace Destiny. With Destiny Life Skills, you can get me on 0724 537 530. 0724 537 530. On all the social medias, Grace Destiny is my name.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Grace, for that. We're carrying on this conversation on social media, on platforms. You said you're Grace Destiny?
Yes, Grace Destiny.
Right, on Facebook, KUTV Kenya, and my Twitter handle is KUMondi_Otieno. It's the time we take another very short break. We shall be coming back with more. Stay with us.